Hi everyone, my name is John Coverdale. This channel is to help students an introduction to computer information systems. This video is a step-by-step guided tutorial for McGraw-Hill's SIMnet. We will be completing a PowerPoint project for PowerPoint Chapter 3, Guided Project 3-1. Today we're completing this project for the imaginary Sierra Pacific Community College District, which is holding a ceremony to dedicate a new building for the business program. To complete this project, you'll need to download your start file and also a resource file from the top of the page that has the instructions for this project. I've already downloaded those files, so let's go ahead and take a look at them and see what they look like. This icon here is our PowerPoint presentation. It's going to have your name, and it's going to be called Dedicated 03 as part of the file name. This one here is going to be the picture that we're going to be using here in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started by opening the file. I'll double click the icon, open it up in PowerPoint, and as usual it says it's opening this in protected view because it came from the internet. So click on Enable Editing so we can get started. Now we should be able to go back to our instructions and check off the first couple of steps. The first one says to let me go ahead and uncheck a few things here. The first one says to open the presentation. We did that, and we also clicked Enable Editing. We're not going to rename it, so we'll skip that step, and then we're going to be looking at step 3. Step 3 says to apply a background picture as the fill for the first slide, display slide 1. Apply a background picture fill with a softened effect to all slides. So for the first part, we have to go to slide 1, choose to format the background. We'll choose a picture. We'll insert it from our computer using the file that we just downloaded. It's going to be called Building 3. We're going to recolor it using this color here, blue accent color 1 dark. And then we're going to apply that to all. So this picture is used as the background for all slides. Let's go ahead and see if we can do that. Make sure that you are on slide 1. It looks like this, and you should have an outline around slide 1 in your slide sorter. Put your mouse over an area that's blank, right-click, and choose from the pop-up menu, Format Background. That's going to open up a side panel here, and we're going to choose the option for Fill that is going to use a picture or texture fill. So click that circle, and it does put a texture on the background, but we're going to change that. Find where it says Picture Source and click on the Insert button that you see here. And then we're going to navigate to a file on your computer. When you click from File, probably PowerPoint is going to divert you to your Pictures folder, which is usually where you're going to find pictures. But remember that the picture that you need is the one that you just downloaded, so it might be in your Downloads folder or wherever you chose to save it, like possibly your desktop. I'll go ahead and click on From a File. It takes me to the correct folder that I want to use here. There's the picture. It's called Building 03. Let's go ahead and click Insert, and it replaces the background with this picture, stretching it to fit the slide. Now, when it did that, it also added a couple of icons here in the side panel that's for formatting the background. And these work sort of like tabs. Let's click on the one that's a picture icon, and then we'll be able to find here a couple of sets of tools here. We're going to open up the one that is called Picture Color. And we're going to choose to change the color tone of this using a preset. No, I'm sorry, let me take that back. We're going to recolor this picture where it says Recolor. We're going to choose this option here and look for one that's going to be called Blue Accent Color 1 Dark. If you put your mouse over the preview, it should tell you with a tooltip that that's the color that you have selected. It should be the second one in the second row. Go ahead and click that, and it darkens the picture, reduces the contrast, and makes it a good background for the text that we see on top of it. Let's go ahead, while we have this side panel open, click the button at the bottom that says Apply to All. And as we do that, you'll notice on the left-hand side in the slide sorter that now all of our slides have this identical background of this blue tinted picture of the building. Let's get back to our instructions and see if we can check off some things. We did step A, B, C, D, E, and F. So we should be able to get to step 4, where it says restore the background picture to its original color on 3 slides. So on slide 1, slide 3, and slide 9, we're going to go back to the Format Background tool, and under Picture Color, we're going to reset the color. So the recoloring of the picture was non-destructive, and so on slide 1, we can use the side panel here. There's a button that says Reset. Let's go ahead and click that. It restores it to a normal looking picture. We want to do the same thing for slides 3 and 9. So click slide 3 on the left-hand side. It has a picture of Dr. Harold Mengler there. Let's click the Reset button. Again, in the side panel, under Format Background, the picture options, and also slide 9, which is the last slide so far. Let's reset the color of that one as well. They also want us to prepare a black slide at the very end so that the speaker can talk for a few moments and maybe take some questions. That's step 5. Now, actually, PowerPoint does always end a presentation with a black slide automatically, but it doesn't hurt to do this with an extra slide as well. Let's go to slide 6, and I guess actually they're going to have a black slide so the speaker can talk for a few minutes in the middle of the presentation. We're going to go to slide 6. We're going to choose to format the background with a solid fill, and it's going to be the standard black color. So let's go ahead and find slide 6 in PowerPoint. And we have this blank slide here. It does have a picture of the building. Let's go ahead and go back to the Paint Bucket tool on Format Background. If you've closed this side panel that says Format Background, you can get it back by right-clicking on the slide and choosing Format Background from the pop-up window. Go to the Paint Bucket tool, choose the circle for solid fill, and then change the color to black. And I'm betting they want us to hide background graphics. Let me go back and double check that and see if they mentioned that. They don't tell you to do that, but I would say that that would be something that typically you would want to do in this situation here. So I guess I'll uncheck that and we'll see what happens when I get this graded. Since they don't mention that we're going to be hiding background graphics, I won't check that button. I think it would be better if we did, though. Okay, let's go to slide 6, or step 6. It says apply a transition to all slides. We're going to use the shape transition, and we're going to select the diamond shape as our effect option, and we're going to apply to all. Since we're going to apply this to all slides, it doesn't really matter which slide we choose to do this on. So on whatever slide you're looking at, go to the Transitions tab, and we're looking for the Shape Transition, which is here in the first row. I'm going to click that one time. We get a preview of what that looks like. Let's hit Preview, and you can see that it's kind of a circle shape. So I'm going to choose Effect Options here and change that to Diamond, and I get another preview. I'll hit the Preview button again just to take another look at it. That's how it's going to look. Let's go and find the button that says Apply to All on the Transitions tab and click that. And what we should see is that when we do this, we should have in our side panel here, it looks to me like maybe PowerPoint is glitching a little bit for me. There should be like a little shooting star icon here to show when you have a transition applied to a slide. And I should see that here now. I'm not even seeing the numbers of my slides here, which is, I think, kind of unusual. Let me go to the View tab and hit Slide Sorter as my view. And I'm going to go ahead and select all slides using Control-A. And I'm going to go back to my Transitions tab here and hit Preview. And hopefully I'll see, there we go, that diamond transition effect on all of my slides. So I can verify doing that I do have the transition effect on all my slides. Or I should be seeing that. Let me preview individually. There we go. Okay, so that seems to be working there. Let's go ahead and go back to the normal view here. I'm going to use the option at the lower right corner of the screen where I can change the view and go back to what is known as normal view. I'm going to click that button right there. Let's take a look at our instructions. I think we're doing okay so far. It says apply animation on 5 slides. So animation is something that you can do to either move something on a slide or to make something appear or disappear, to add dynamic interest to your slides. Transitions are what happens when one slide changes to another, kind of like a scene in a movie changing. Animations can cause text to appear one line at a time, or things to move onto the slide, or even to move off of the slide. So that's what we're going to be working on right now. We're going to go to the Animations tab, and what you'll find here is that we're going to be doing this for about 5 different objects on about 4 different slides. For each one of these, we need to know which slide we're on, find the correct object, choose the correct animation effect. Some of them have options that we need to change. And then we're going to see about how we're going to start this animation. Is it going to be only when we click the mouse or keyboard, or is it going to be automatically after previous, and also what's the duration? So we're going to need to make sure that we think about each one of these settings for each one of these things, and we're going to be starting on slide 1. So let me go ahead and go to slide 1 here. And it says that we need to find the text box for the agenda on the right. I'm going to click on that here, and you can see that I have it selected with the handles around all of the corners. I want to go to the Animations tab, and the effect that we want to use is the wipe effect, which you can see right here. Let me open the drawer for all of these animations, and you'll see that the green ones are called entrance effects, so it makes something appear that wasn't previously on the slide. You've got the emphasis, which takes something that's already there and it moves it, or it causes it to change in some way to call attention to it. Then you have the red exit effects, which, as you can imagine, they hide something or they move it off the slide. So we're going to choose wipe as the effect here, and you can see that it wants to use a reveal that comes from the bottom up. We want to change that that effect option to be from the bottom, but by paragraph. So instead of as one object, we're going to have each thing reveal itself as each line of text. When is that going to happen? Well, it's going to happen on click, which is the default, and the duration is already set to 0.5, so we don't need to change that. All right, so let's see what we need to do next. If we go to our instructions, our instructions say to go to slide 3, find a picture, animate it with the shape entrance effect. The effect option is going to be diamond out after previous, which we'll need to change that, and duration is 2 seconds, which is pretty slow. Let's go ahead and see if we can do all of that here in PowerPoint. We need to go to slide 3. We're going to find the picture of this gentleman here. The animation effect is going to be shape. Let's find that. So there it is right there, kind of in the middle of the entrance effects. We're going to choose the effect option of diamond. So choose that, and then go back to the effect options again and choose out. So we're going to change the effect options twice. How long will that take? 2 seconds, that's the default. And when will this happen? After previous, which means that it's going to happen automatically. Let me show you. I'm going to get rid of the Format Background tab. We don't really need to have that. I'm going to actually activate the animation pane here, and it shows me that I have only one animation, and it if I had multiple animations, it would show me the order vertically that these occur in. And since it's going to be happening after previous, that means that this animation is going to happen immediately when the slide is revealed. So just to show you what this is going to look like, let me go ahead and start from the first slide, and that reveals the diamond transition effect. I'll hit the space, and that is going to bring up the blue box. And now I need to hit the space 1 time, 2 times, and so forth to reveal each one of these pieces of text. I'm done with that. I'll go to the next slide automatically. And now without any hands, it should show Dr. Mengler as soon as we get to slide 3. So that's kind of how this is going to be working. Let's go ahead and take a look at our instructions and see what we can do for part C here. Part C is going to be, or part D is going to be on slide 7. And what is that going to look like? It says that we need to find a text box about space design, use the zoom entrance effect, object center as one object on click, and duration is 50 or 0.5 of a second. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So we're looking for slide 7. Let's go ahead and get there. The text box about space design. So that would be this one here, I think. We're going to use zoom as an entrance effect, so it'll be a green effect. There it is right there. And we're going to use it as an object and centered. So object center and as one object. Those are the two things we want. They are already selected. We're going to have this happen on click. That's the default. And it's going to have a duration of 0.5 of a second, so that is already to go. We can hit preview and see what this is going to look like, and we get to see it right there. So there's the preview button on the left-hand side of the ribbon. Let's go back to our instructions and check off step D. Step E is also on slide 7. It's the text box about wireless access. We're going to use the same zoom effect, the same options, the same on-click, and the same duration. So that's going to be this box down here. Now, one thing that you could do, since it is identical to this one right here, is you could use the animation painter. If you're doing multiple things on a slide and you want them all to be using the same animation effect, you can click on animation painter, kind of like the format painter in Word, and then click on the thing that you want to animate. And so when I do that, you can see what happens. This is animation number 1. This is now animation number 2. Let's see if it is correctly animated here. It's the text box about wireless access. The effect should be zoom, which it is. It should be effect options as one object and centered, which it is. It should be on click, which it is, and it should be 0.5 of a second. So slide 7 seems to be complete here. Let's go back to our instructions and take a look at the last animation that we have to do, which is going to be on slide 8. Text box with donor names. Effect is wipe, an entrance effect from the bottom after previous, which is going to be a setting that we need to change, and duration of 1. So let's go ahead and do that together right now. Going back to our presentation to slide 8. We're going to find the text box with donor names. Click it 1 time. Our animation is going to be the wipe effect. The way that it's going to do it is from the bottom, which is how it's set, and then all at once. We're going to change this setting here to all at once. So just take another look and verify that those two settings are correct from bottom all at once. We need to change on clicked to after previous to make this automatic. And then we need to make sure the duration is set to 1. And so we're going to make this slow down to 1 second. I'll hit preview and we'll take a look at what that's going to look like. Okay, that to me didn't look like all at once. Let me go ahead and take a look at it. It does say all at once, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that. I trust that was the way it was supposed to work. I thought that all the text was going to appear as a block, but anyway, I think it's going to be okay. Now let's use the, let's actually take a look at our slideshow. We're going to go to slide 1 and click the slideshow button, which is down at the bottom in the status bar. You can hit F5 as well. We're going to click next, and try to use the See All Slides button and also the Zoom In feature. And you can press N to go to the next slide, P to go to the previous animation or slide. You can also use the up and down arrows to go forward and back, or the left and right arrows. You can use the space bar to go forward and the backspace key to go backwards. So there's lots of ways you can use your keyboard to go forward and back. So let's see if we can do this here. Now, they're not going to really grade this part of looking at the slide, so if you wind up doing it a little bit differently, that's okay. But I'm going to go to slide number 1 and hit F5, which always starts the presentation. And so you can see it there on my screen. I'll try using N for next, and it does the next animation. I usually use the space bar, but you can use whichever key is easiest for you. Let's go ahead and keep on navigating here to the next slide. And there's the automatic animation of Dr. Harold Mengler. They wanted us to zoom in. Let's right click and choose, what was it? See All Slides, was that one of the things they wanted us to do? Oh, magnify slide, let's do that. We can zoom in on his picture. Hit escape to zoom back out. Right click again and choose See All Slides. We get like a little menu of the different slides we can jump around. So if we wanted to go back, we could do that. Let me just hit the next slide and go to that one. Kind of go through the slide presentation and just see that you have those animations that you put and that it's going to happen the way you were expecting it to happen. And when you get to the end, you'll see that the presentation is going to end on a blank slide, and then you can hit the escape key when you're done. So that's just kind of some tricks that you can use in presenting a presentation. I think it's better to not look at the keyboard or the mouse or turn your back to the audience to look at the screen behind you when you're making your presentation. If you can be aware of that you can just use the arrow keys or the keyboard in some way to move forward and back, that will be that'll make your presentation much more professional. And also knowing that you can right click if somebody wants you to zoom in on something, or you want to zoom in on a map or something, or if somebody asks you to go back to a previous slide, you can easily do that without breaking out of your presentation. So let's see, I think we did all these things. We used next. There's also a control button that you can click to navigate through the slides with the mouse. I think we pretty much did a good job of that. So let's go ahead and go to step 9. It says prepare speaker notes on 2 slides. First on slide 1, we're going to go and open up the notes panel of the thing, and we're going to zoom in if we need to so we can more easily see things. And we're going to add this text here for slide 1. And I recommend that you copy this one line at a time if you want to copy it. So copy this like so, paste it, then come back for more text rather than trying to copy a bunch of it, because you'll probably get some junk that you don't want to include. So I'm going to copy welcome the audience and go to slide 1. And I'm going to open my notes pane. If you look at the bottom of the screen, my mouse is down there. I'm going to click on this thing that says notes to open it up. And it says the tours will now begin at 4. I'm going to go ahead and resize this just by pulling up on this line here so I can see it better. The slide 1 said that we were going to welcome the audience, review today's agenda, go through animation. So let's go ahead and go to slide 1. There we are. This is what slide 1 is, the Mengler Business Complex. Click to add notes. I'm going to right click and choose to keep text only. I don't want to paste anything like any bold or color, so I'm just going to make sure I'm keeping text only. I'll hit enter one time. Review today's agenda, go through animation. Now it looks like they actually have a blank line in between, so I'll go ahead and enter one more time here and paste. Let's go back and check off a couple of things here. The next thing I want to do is foster business innovation and improvement on slide 5. So let me make sure I get to slide 5. I'm going to click here, right click, and choose to keep text only. Hit enter 2 times, come back, developed the Business Development Institute, copy, paste, enter 2 times, and expanded the internship or expanded internship opportunities. Now you can certainly type this, but the grader is particular about typing, so make sure that you don't type anything different from how they've given it to you here. So it says click the normal button to return to normal view. I actually am in normal view, so I don't need to do that. I'll just go ahead and click normal again, and it shows an outline. I'll just go ahead and pull down the bar that separates my notes from my slides so I get my slide workspace back. Okay, step 10 says to print notes for slides 4 and 5. Now, you're not going to print anything. In fact, please don't. But we'll take a look at how we could print if we wanted to. Let me go to the presentation here and go to the File tab and click on Print. If you want to play around with this, I kind of recommend that you set the printer to Adobe PDF if you have that, or to Microsoft XPS if you have that. That way you don't accidentally print anything. We're going to choose to print a custom range. So you could type in here 4 and 5. That'll print only 2 of the slides instead of all of them. They wanted you to see how to print a notes page. And so if you choose here, notes page, you can see that you could print this with all of the notes that are on the notes page. And portrait orientation. Was there anything else they wanted us to check? They wanted us to make sure that it would scale to fit paper. With my printer, I don't have a problem with that, I don't think. In their picture, do they have a setting for that maybe on your screen? If it says scale to fit paper, go ahead and choose that. Mine is fitting on the paper just fine. I'm not going to print, so I'm going to go ahead and use the circle arrow button to go back to PowerPoint. And I'm going to go ahead and check off of I'll follow these instructions because we don't really need to do that. Okay, let's imagine that we're getting ready to present this thing to a group, and we want to be able to maybe present it without having to click the mouse or the keyboard as we do it. This is not a feature I typically use, but if you wanted to make the presentation automatic, or maybe run it at a kiosk, or have it cycling automatically on the screen, you could loop through your presentation unattended maybe before the event started. Let's see how we could go ahead and do that. Let's go to the slideshow tab and activate Rehearse timings. Here's a button, Rehearse timings. When we click it, it starts the presentation, and it's basically recording how long each slide is going to be on the screen. So go ahead and use your arrow keys to move through the presentation. I'm just going to do this and pause on each slide just a little bit. And it's recording how long I've kept each one of these slides on the screen. And so the overall presentation is going to take about 30 seconds. "40 seconds. Do you want to save the new slide timings? Yes, click yes, whatever it may be. That'll be part of what they want to find when they grade this. But if you wanted to use your presentation and not use timings, there is a way to do that. So let's see how you can keep those timings saved, but then also give your presentation in a normal way. On the same slideshow tab, we're going to uncheck the box that says to use timings. And if you have multiple monitors, we're going to use something called presenter view. So let me go ahead and uncheck use timings here, and do check use presenter view. Now I'm going to go ahead and check this box here. and show my presentation from the beginning. And now nothing's going to happen unless I make it happen manually. But you guys are not seeing presenter view on my screen. So I'm going to go ahead. If you only have one monitor, you can do this on your computer. Right click and choose hide presenter view. No, let's see. I have two screens here. Let me go back and show presenter view. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring presenter view over onto this screen right here so you guys can see it. So this is what presenter view looks like. Typically, if I'm in the classroom giving a presentation, I have a computer in front of me and I see presenter view, and behind me my students are looking at this slide right here. So I can see what they're seeing. I can also see what comes next. I can see my notes for more information that I may want to share with them. It would work the same way if you had your laptop hooked up to a projector and you were projecting your slideshow onto a screen. So this is a really great feature in PowerPoint. Let's see what they want us to do with this here. Once we get into this, we're going to look at this from the beginning. We're going to advance to next slides, and we'll see that we have some tools available here. Let's take a look at this. You can use these little buttons here at the bottom to go from one slide to the next or to advance your animations. You can also use your keyboard like we did before. If you do have something where you want to zoom in, let's go ahead and get to Dr. Mengler's picture again. If I want to zoom in on him for people, I can grab the magnifying glass off of my tools here and click, and it'll zoom in on that on the screen that your viewers are looking at. You can you can zoom back out by hitting the magnifier again. If you want to jump ahead or behind in your presentation, you can click on this button to see all slides, and you can navigate to any slide you want. Let's go ahead and navigate to this one, and then just kind of go through your presentation and take a look at all the animations that you've created and admire your handiwork. When you get to the end, it's going to take you to a blank slide, and when you're done, you can hit the escape key, and that'll take you back to PowerPoint. So that's great. Let's see if we can check off all the boxes here. We pressed escape to exit presenter view. That tells us that we're ready to save and close the presentation. I'll go back to the first slide and save it. And let me go ahead and go to the top of the page here and submit my work. Hopefully I'll get a good grade, and so you'll be able to submit your work. And it says 100%. So I managed to get through it without any errors. Hopefully that helped you complete your project. Thank you for watching the video. I hope that you learned something new about PowerPoint. It can be a really good program to use if you do need to give presentations for either school or your job. Thanks again for watching. Let your teachers know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.